Hey, good morning. Melissa here from GirlGoneFishing, and I'm really excited because it's tournament day. Today is the Cincinnati Kayak Fishing Northern Kentucky Waters Tournament. So if you've been watching my last couple videos, you know I've been scouting for a lake for this tournament. It's any public water between the Ohio River, south of the Ohio River, and north of Lexington, the line that goes through Lexington. So I've been trying a couple different lakes, and I think I found one that I really like. Honestly, I'm not sure if it's the winning lake. I think I can catch fish there, and I think it's going to be really pretty, and I'm going to have a good time. So I've got about an hour and a half drive, so I've got to get going, get down to the ramp, get set up, and get launched. All right, I'll see you down in Kentucky at the ramp. Well, I made it here to the lake. There is a car with a kayak. They seem to be asleep in their car, so I'm gonna have to share the lake, but that's okay. All right, gonna get set up and get launched. It'd be beautiful. So it's 6:05, legal launch time was 6 o'clock, lines in is 6:15, so I'm pedaling out to my spot, but it's pretty close to the ramp, so I'm not really in a hurry. You can see there's one other person here, and hopefully he and I take first and second place today. So I'm glad there's not a whole lot of boats, and oh, it's gonna be so pretty. So it's going to start off pretty calm today, like 4-mile-per-hour winds, although I don't feel anything right now, and it's going to go up to about 8 or 9 mile per hour, but by the time the tournament ends, my fish finder's not working. I know this is a real surprise to you guys, but I thought I had it figured out. I've got it diagnosed. There's actually some sort of bad connection in the wire that runs from the battery to the actual Garmin unit at the front of my kayak. So that cord has to run from the back of my kayak, where the battery's in my backpack, back there, to the front of my boat up there. So I've got this cord that runs along the side there, and it's got some kind of issue, so I'm gonna have to get a new cord. Brian worked on it a little bit and made me like a skinnier cord. We thought we had it working, but I'm gonna have to just throw this away and get a whole new cord. But yeah, no fish finder. I thought I had it figured out. I taped up the connections, but I knew it was iffy. I have to get a new cord, something strong enough to carry the current and not care if it gets rained on. So that's the project before next weekend when I have to go up to East Harbor up at Lake Erie. But for now, let's go find some fish. So I wiggled all the wires and I got my fish finder to come on just long enough to tell me the water temp is 75.8 right now. So no fish, tons of rings on the surface, but no nibbles. I've seen some carp jumping, but nothing else so far. So gotta hit it hard. Does anyone have a suggestion to solve this? My Yak Attack boomstick that has my back GoPro is a little too heavy for the lock and load base, and you can see it engages on its own and it just swings around wildly instead of actually staying in place and filming what I needed to film. And then the lock and load thing is stuck down in there and I can't get it out. Sitting in this seat, I only have one hand and I can't get it to disengage. Oh, it's so frustrating. Does anyone have any solution to this? So I apologize, but this is going to be a mostly cell phone video today. I finally got my fish finder working, but it turns out it won't work if the GoPro is plugged in. So I can get the GoPro to work, but if the fish finder's plugged in, the GoPro says there's not enough power to work. And if I try to plug the GoPro in and get it working, the fish finder won't turn on. So there's definitely something going on in, I guess, the plugs for my actual battery, because the voltage isn't coming out right. I mean, I have a pretty powerful battery and it's fully charged. Charged it last night, so I don't know. Another thing to figure out when I get home. But whoo, stump! I gotta pay attention now. I'm getting blown through a field of standing timber. Don't want to get treed. So I know it's hard to believe, but this little tiny fish, this little fish nugget, not even a fish stick, he's like just like a little fish bit. He counts 10 inches. So, all right, fish number 1. All right, another 10-inch bass on the weightless Senko. I'm gonna fill my limit and then go looking for big guys. So I don't mind these little 10-inch guys. Look how cute he is. They're skinny though. All right, 2 fish, 20 inches for 2 fish. Whew. Need to get bigger. Well, I got my first bluegill of the year. So pretty. I'm always amazed that I don't catch more of these guys. All right, I guess that's the little nibbler I was playing with. I thought it might have been a bass. All right, try a new spot. Well, it's 9 o'clock and I still just have those 2 little 10-inch fish plus a couple bluegill. So it's been really fun so far. I was really hoping I was gonna get things on topwater or a chatterbait, but I can't get a reaction bite for anything right now. Nothing on the frog on the grass. So it's gonna be maybe a weightless Senko day. I don't know. I'm gonna go back out to the main lake and try some of the main lake points as the wind starts to pick up. So I don't want to try to weightless Senko the main lake points once the wind gets as high as it's going to get this afternoon. So if the main lake points are going to be weightless Senko, they must be weightless Senko now before the wind picks up. So gotta check that off. I got my first moving bait bite. Look at this. This guy's probably 11 inches. He looks huge compared to this first 2. But can you see that? He's on the chatterbait. Yep, he's a whopping 11 inches, fish number 3. I'm hurtling towards a huge limit of 5 bass. So I've got a 10-inch, a 10-inch, and an 11-inch. All right, let's keep filling that limit. So here we have fish number 4. He's 9 inches. They're getting smaller, but Cincinnati Kayak Fishing allows 8 inches, so I am counting him, and hopefully we'll call him out later with a giant. So little 9-incher. So I've got 4 fish for 40 inches right now. Woohoo! So you always hear that you want to throw what they're eating, you know, match the hatch, match the forage. Well, that is what the 9-inch bass just spit up on my kayak. That's the tiniest fish ever. I don't have anything that small. So I have my limit. Well, I have my limit on Cincinnati kayak fishing terms anyway. I have 5 fish for 49.5 inches, which is just pathetic. But since Cincinnati kayak fishing allows 8 inches and above, here we go. So now my goal is to get a legit limit, 12 inches and above, and then call out all these little guys. So I'm kind of happy that I got my 5. Now I'm going to go look for big fish. These have all been on a weightless Senko, except for the one that was a chatterbait. I'm starting to think that was a mistake, but it just made me want to chatterbait more, and I haven't got another bite yet. So weightless Senko and one little chatterbait bass. So here's what I'm throwing with the weightless Senko. It's your standard 5-inch Senko. This one has a little bit of fleck in it for the sunshine, and I always put some of the Spike It pen on the tip just to give it a little extra flash, and this is a garlic scent. So you take this off and then catch fish. All right, I got my first call of the day. He's 11.25 inches, so it's my biggest fish of the day, but still haven't got to that 12-inch actual legal limit, you know. So this guy counts for Cincinnati kayak fishing, and he's a cull. So woohoo! Need to get more. Look at this skinny guy. He's a 10-inch bass, so that knocks out my 2 9-inch fish. Little tiny, a 1-inch upgrade, but it counts. So he was a chatterbait fish, way out in 16 feet of water. That's crazy. All I was doing was trying to pedal my way back. I got blown off my spot when I was measuring that last fish, and so I was casting out in the middle as I was pedaling back, and what is he doing out there? But all right, keep upgrading. One of my favorite things to do in a kayak is find these little water inlet, where the creeks come in, and see how far up I can go. Now I try to control the urge in tournaments, but right now I think it would actually be good to go back here and check this shade. The water is pretty stained back here. Muddy, stained, but I think the shade might be good. Gotta try it anyway. I'm not getting any bites. I'm not getting any nibbles. At least out on the main lake, I was getting the bluegill nibbles, but nothing back here. But man, it just looks so fishy. All right, I'm gonna move a little faster, head my way back to the main lake, and go back to hitting those windy points, like was the plan before I got lured into these beautiful backwaters. Well, it's been about an hour and a half since my last bite, so this little 10.5 bass looks huge to me, but I'm not entirely sure he culls. I think my smallest fish might be 10, so he might be a 1/2 inch upgrade for me. But I was headed out to the main lake, and then I got distracted by another beautiful little backwater. So look, he's chunkier than the other fish. He's actually eating. All right, I gotta go find some bigger fish. Say goodbye, buddy. Bye. So I'm pedaling my way out of another back of a creek. I know I said I wasn't going to go in any more backs of creeks, but it looks so good. Look at it back there. So now I'm going to go out and hit some main lake points in the wind. That's probably been the pattern all along, and I could have caught like 20 inchers if I'd just done it earlier. But no, instead I'm playing with 9-inch bass in the back of coves. 12 o'clock report time. I am 7th out of 36 anglers, but I think that's mostly because people haven't turned their fish in, because I just have really tiny little bass. My smallest fish is 10, my biggest fish is 11.25. So I need to get some upgrading, but at least I have a limit. So, but like I said, that doesn't really count because CKF allows you to get 8-inch bass, and you know, a real limit is 12-inch bass. So I would like to get a 5-fish limit of 12-inch bass. Actually, I'd like to get a 5-inch limit of 20-inch bass. Is that asking too much? I don't feel like it. So, okay, gonna get back to work and hopefully upgrade. Check out this 11.75-inch giant I caught. Still waiting for that first 12-inch actual legal cull, but this one gives me an 1.75 inch upgrade. All right, we have our first official keeper. This guy is 13.25. Starting to get bigger. This is exciting. Look at that belly on that guy. Ooh. Check that out. It's a jigfish. I caught a jigfish. So I was inspired by fishing with my buddy Chris Anderson from the Strictly Sailing Kayak fishing team last weekend, and I told him I was going to catch a jigfish today. And look at that. It's not much of a fish, but it counts as a jigfish. All right, my jigfish is 11 inches. I'm not sure if I need him or not. 11 might be my smallest bass right now, but I'll check and we'll see. But still very cool jigfish. He's feisty too. Look how pretty this guy is. He's tiny, but beautiful coloring. This guy isn't gonna help me, but look, I got a frogfish. He's almost the same size as the frog, but that is awesome. I've caught fish on a lot of different lures today, but I just can't get a big one. All right, it's 2 o'clock. I've got one more hour. I gotta keep going. So I made it back to my car, and as I was pedaling back to the ramp, I kept thinking, what am I gonna say in the tournament wrap up? And I really came to 2 different conclusions. One is I'm pretty disappointed in where I finished because it's rapidly becoming mathematically impossible for me to make the Tournament of Champions with Angler of the Year points. So if I don't place super high up in one of these events here soon, I'm going to be once again working the Tournament of Champions instead of being in it. So that's kind of a bummer. But on the flip side, I caught a lot of fish. So that was pretty cool. So a huge thank you to Strictly Sailing Kayak for all of their help setting up my 2024 Hobie Lynx. I changed a lot of the setup for the new one, and they were really helpful getting me the accessories that I needed and helping me with all the wiring and everything. And gosh, my electronics problems have just been endless. It's always like something new cropping up. Brian's theory was that it got banged around in my trunk. So now that I have a nicer trunk, I'm hoping that we can get it fixed once and for all, and then I'm just good to go for the rest of the season. So thank you, Strictly Sailing Kayak, for all that you do for me personally and for the kayaking and angling communities. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. It would be awesome if you could like the video, subscribe to my Girl Gone Fishing channel, and yeah, more stuff coming soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you out on the water on the next one.